Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. If you're a returning listener, if this is your first time here, thanks so much for tuning in. We talk a lot about life and mental health and just all the stuff and things on here just to, try to be the best versions of ourselves and, live the best versions of our lives. So we kind of just talk about a lot of stuff. So thanks so much for joining, and if it is your first time, please come back. And like I said, if you have been here before, thanks so much for tuning back in. So I want to talk tonight about the fact that it is the holiday season, and, I know the holidays can be very hard for people because a lot of us are perhaps missing people that we love that aren't here anymore. The holidays can often remind us of people that we cared about that aren't here anymore. From that perspective, it can be a sad time of year. So I acknowledge that, and my heart goes out to anybody who's struggling from that perspective. And I know it can be hard from that perspective. That being said, this time of year is also / can also just be so magical. And for me, I love this time of year. It is just a time of it's hard to explain. It's a time of magic, right? Like, it's a time of lights and joy and, excitement and family and friends and just all the fun things. So I really love this time of year. The other thing is I always use this time of year as what I call my off season. So if you haven't tuned into this podcast before, I do a few things. I work in healthcare mainly, but I also train and compete on horses. And I travel all over the country competing on them and all of that sort of fun stuff. This time of year, I purposely make it a point to basically take an off season. There's still a couple of races, in the area, although everything slows down naturally because where I live, it gets colder, it snows, the ground changes, it gets harder to keep the horses in shape. So everything kind of naturally slows down. But I kind of take it to the next level, and I just give myself and I give the horses 100% off. It's like we don't do anything. Like, we don't ride, we don't condition, we don't do drill work. I really slack on my own working out and my own athleticism and my own good eating habits and all that stuff. Like, I really just make the month of December like just a little vacation. It's like, we're just gonna enjoy it and not worry about all that other stuff. And for me, and everybody's different, but I'm sharing my experiences in case anybody out there gets anything out of it. But for me, that time is so valuable, and I love having that, what I call the off season. Like, it's just a time to chill out. It's a time to reflect. It's a time to think about what you've accomplished the year before. It's a time to make some plans and preparations for the year coming. It's a time to just slow down and just enjoy the season. And at Christmas especially, this time of year especially, it's so easy for people to kind of go into hyper mode, right? Like, there's so much going on, so much has to be done. Like, we put all this pressure on ourselves to be like, we got to do this, that, the other, all these things. We got to pack it all into this month. The society and we ourselves put so much pressure on ourselves to really become the busiest of all this time of year. And I really try to push back on that as much as possible. I try to, of course I feel pressures like everybody else. Like I got to get Christmas shopping done. You got to do things. But I try to get them done early. I try to be organized. I try to have things, kind of wrapped up so I'm not scrambling. And like I said, a lot of my time during the week goes to the horses and conditioning them, training them, riding them, taking them to races, all that stuff. And we just wipe all of that out. And we just say, you know what, we're not doing any of it. We're taking the whole month off. And we're just going to enjoy this time off. And we're going to reset. And I love that. And I don't know what everyone's days and weeks look like. We all have different things going on. But I encourage you, if it's not December, find another time. I encourage you to find an off season. I encourage you to find, some time during the year where you feel like you have some downtime, where you feel like you have some relief from all the pressures that you put on yourself, where you feel like you have time to sit, be quiet, reflect, think about, what your year so far has looked like. Think about what your year coming up you want to look like. Make some goals, some plans for yourself. Set some new goals for the next year. It's so important, and I love it for myself. And if you guys aren't doing this already, I just really encourage you to find a way to do it. Again, everybody's life looks different. I know I have the horses, taking them out of the equation, like, taking the conditioning, the racing out of the equation, and basically just saying, we're taking off from riding, we're taking off from racing this month. I know not everybody has the luxury of that. Like, when I wipe that out for a month, it's a big noticeable difference for me, and I know not everybody has something like that in their life. So it's not going to look the same for everybody, but find your own version of it and, make it a priority. I want to read this, if I can find it. Let's see. I want to read this poem, and I cannot take credit for it. It's just something that, circulates on Facebook. Like, I don't know who it came from, who started it. I don't know any of that. But I do want to read it on here to you guys because, again, for me and my life, it just speaks so true. So let me read this to you. So it goes, the winter solstice time is no longer celebrated as it once was, with the understanding that this is a period of descent and rest, and going within our homes, within ourselves, and taking in all that we have been through, all that has passed in this full year, which is now coming to a close. Like nature and the animal kingdom around us, this time of hibernation is so necessary for our tired limbs and our burdened minds. Our modern culture teaches us avoidance at the max at this time of year. Alcohol, lights, shopping, overworking, overspending, comfort food, and consumerism. And yet, the natural tug to go inwards, as nearly all animal creatures are doing this time of year, is so strong. And the weather so bitter that people are left feeling that winter is hard, because for those of us without burning fires or big festive families, it can be a very lonely and isolating time of year. Whereas in actual fact, winter is kind. She points us in her quiet, soft way towards our inner selves, towards this annual time of peace and reflection, embracing the darkness and forgiving, accepting and loving, embracing goodbyes to the past year. Winter always takes away the distractions, the buzz, and presents us with the perfect time to rest and withdraw into the womb like love, bringing fire and light to our earth. And then just around the corner, the new year will begin again, and like a seed planted deep in the earth, we will all rise with renewed energy once again to dance in the sunlight. Life is a gift. Happy winter to all of you. So again, I cannot take credit for that. I found that circulating on Facebook. I don't know who wrote it. I don't know where it came from, but I just kind of love the sentiment of that. You know, winter offers us, especially those of us who live in places that get very cold in the winter, which I know is not the case for everyone, but for those of us who do, it's just such a natural season to make it a point and have an excuse to find some downtime, you know, to just sit in our homes, to be cozy, to just reflect and then re-energize our batteries to attack the next year and accomplish the new goals that we set for ourselves. So anyway, hopefully somebody, you know, finds something in that. Hopefully somebody can relate to that in some way. Again, find your off season. If it's not going to be this time of year, find it another time of year. It's important to find a time for yourself to come inward, to reflect, and to figure out how to be what you want to be in that new chapter. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. I hope you have a great holiday season. I'm just wishing you all the heartfelt joy, love, peace possible. So we will talk again very soon, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.